Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, this Monday afternoon, and thank you so much for spending your time with us. So this afternoon, we are going to go through some very important, like alternative, like in addition to J and H status. Okay, so today I'm joined by my colleague, Jeanne Ma. She is one of our advisors. And then also my colleague Mike from the integration team, he is helping us with IT facility setup. All right, thank you. And Jean, do you want to say something?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeanne. As Chiwei mentioned, I am one of the advisors in the office. I advise F1, J1 students, as well as H1B scholars.
Yeah, so today I see some familiar names. Well, most of you, I feel like the names are very familiar. I'm happy that we can virtually meeting you here, and then we can go through some slides together. And then at the end of our presentation, we will leave time for Q&A. But then as we go through this PowerPoint slide presentation, please feel free to write your question on the draft, or I think it's on draft, no, on chat or on Q&A. Mike, yeah, I think.
Yeah, Q&A is right.
Q&A, yeah. You can just put your question on Q&A, and then Jean or myself will monitor the Q&A. If we do not have time to answer you during our presentation, then we will do it like during our Q&A section. All right, so we can start. Okay, so I know that a lot of departments will come to me before. Some of you, before you hire a person, you will come to me and ask, hey, what's the best visa option to bring these people? Okay, to bring in A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, all these different type of position, different title. What is the best visa option? Okay, most of the time, department will think, well, we know that H1B is an option, but we want to know whether we have some other option, or we want to know whether this is even an option for H1B, and other than H1B, are there any options? Are we allowed to really look at this person and then for 1 or 2 years, and then we decide whether we want to sponsor with H1B? So today, our goal is to go through other options, other visa options than H1B and J. Okay, so there are several options. If this person is currently a student and your department plan to hire them, okay, to a new position at your department, or if this person already currently work for you, or this person already worked for you in the past when he or she was a student at Penn, then maybe, okay, if this person is on F1 status, most of the time, they will be eligible for 1 year of regular OPT, and then depends on the major. If this person has a STEM major, then on top of this 1 year of OPT, then they will be eligible for STEM OPT as well. Jean will let you know more about this. And then we are also going to talk about visitors. If your department just want to invite someone to join a conference, okay, and then you are not going to pay them, no money involved, no payment involved, then there will be B1, B2. Jean will also talk about that. And then in addition to OPT, STEM OPT, or B1, B2 visa, then TN, O1, E3, and permanent residency are another 4 options most commonly seen in the University of Pennsylvania for when you try to hire foreign nationals as your department employees. So we will also talk about these 4 options after we cover like OPT and B1, B2. All right, next slide. So Jean.
All right. Thanks, Chiwei. Hi, everyone. So as Chiwei mentioned, that OPT is a common option for students for F1 visa holders to apply with USCIS to work in the US. So if you have an incoming postdoc who is completing their PhD program at a university in the US, then that person has the option to apply for OPT to work as a postdoc in your department for up to 12 months under OPT. If the student is in a STEM degree, then the student will have the option to apply for STEM OPT extension, which will allow them to work in the postdoc position for another 2 months, for another 2 years. When you host a STEM OPT extension student, you will just have to make sure that you help complete the form called I-983, which is a training plan that explains what the training is all about, how is the student going to be supervised, how is this or their performance will be monitored and assessed, and who is the direct reporting supervisor, and things like that. So that's the document that we will actually need to see before we can recommend the STEM OPT extension for those students in CBIS. Next slide. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about OPT. So as I mentioned, students who are finishing their degree at a university in the US, F1 students, they're eligible to apply for OPT, optional practical training, to work in the US for up to 12 months in their field of study. OPT is managed by the host school. For example, if a student is graduating from Penn, then Penn would be, ISSS would be one to help recommend OPT and issue the OPT I-20 for the student to apply for OPT with USCIS. If a student is coming to Penn, for example, to work from another institution, then that school, for example, Princeton in this case, would be helping the student with their OPT application and other issues related to OPT. Penn will be able to hire students using just their EAD card. If any changes happen within employment, then the student will directly handle that with their school. Or if the student graduated from Penn, then ISSS would be the one to help them monitor their employment and update any employment changes in CBIS. All right, next. For students who are graduating with a STEM degree, as mentioned, they're eligible for additional 12 months of OPT to work in the US in a STEM field that's related to their major. So if a student graduated from Penn in a STEM degree, then ISSS will be the one to help them with their OPT, STEM OPT I-20, and give them instructions on how to apply for STEM OPT extension. If you have a postdoc who completed their PhD from another school and they're working at Penn, then that postdoc will reach out to their school where they graduated from, and that school will help them with the STEM OPT application. A thing to note for BAs listening in this webinar is that when a student submits a timely filed STEM OPT application with USCIS, they're eligible to continue working in the position for up to 180 days while STEM OPT is pending. So the STEM OPT does not have to be approved by the end of their OPT end day. As long as the application was submitted before the OPT end day, then the student or the postdoc will be able to continue to work for up to 6 months. Yes, so the STEM OPT is managed by the student's sponsoring school. So if the student graduated from Penn, then we will be managing their CBIS record. If they're coming from another school, then their school, where their I-20 is, will be the one not managing their record and their employment updates with immigration. Next. Chiwei, you want to say something about TN?
Yeah, okay, so it's my turn. So, but before I talk about TN, I want to add something about the STEM OPT and OPT. So just to let everyone know that in order for you to see whether a student or an interviewee, if they said that if you are interviewing a candidate, and the candidate tell you that, well, I'm currently on OPT or I'm planning to apply for OPT, most of the time you can request an I-20. Okay, so on the second page of I-20, you will see their current OPT status. And then you can also reach out to us, and then we will be able to check for you to see, well, whether this person is currently on OPT and whether this person is eligible for another 24 months of STEM OPT. Okay, so next we are going to talk on TN. Okay, so TN are specifically for citizens from Canada or Mexico. Okay, so no other countries are eligible for this for TN. Okay, so it's not called NAFSA professional. Okay, and this profession must qualify under regulation. Okay, so it's not every position could be qualified for TN. So if you have a person who is from Canada and want to check whether this candidate is the position for this candidate is qualified for TN, we do have something on our website. We can help you. And then also just want to let everyone know that recently, a couple of weeks ago, we launched our first TNE form. Okay, that is to say that if in the future, if you have an employee or if you are interviewing a candidate, and then you want to know whether this person is qualified for TN or your department would like to sponsor an employee with TN, you can submit a TNE form through IPEN. Okay, our department will help you process a TN application. Okay, if this person is in the United States in a different visa status, then we will be able to help you do the change of status application petition for you. But if this person plan to travel, then we can also help you do a letter. Okay, we can give you a letter, and then your department also need to provide an offer letter. And with this person can travel either back to Mexico or in Canada. Okay, and then return as a TN visa. So this is the most updated assistance that our department is like going forward. Our office will be able to help you with TN just through the TNE form. Okay, so I think we can move to next slide. Mike, please. Thank you. And then next one will be E3. E3, just like TN, TN is for Mexican and Canadian citizens. Australian people, okay, Australian citizens, they will be available, like they will be eligible for E3. Okay, so this E3, as opposed to TN, the maximum amount of time for TN are 3 years, and E3 are 2 years. Okay, and then the qualification is similar to H1B. Okay, so many of you are very familiar with the H1B process. So E3 is very similar to H1B. So that means that we will need to submit an LCA, labor condition application for this person. And if this person plan to travel, then they can just bring this LCA and apply for EN at the local consulate. But if this person would like to change their status in the United States or extend the stay in the United States, then we can also do that for you. Okay, so this is E3. Next slide. Okay, so next slide is the E3 procedure. So most of the time, the department has to request an E-form through IPEN. Okay, so there are several options. You can see H1B, you can see TN, and E3 is also one of the options. And then one of our advisors will be assigned to your case, and depends on what you decide to do. We can either prepare an LCA for you, so this person can travel back to Australia, and with this LCA, they can go for the visa interview, E3 visa interview, or we can help submit a change of status or extension of stay petition in the United States. Okay, and then we do charge a fee for E3, and we also charge fees for T visa. Okay, next slide. Oh, this will be Jeanne's.
All right, thanks, Chiwei. So B1, B2. So oftentimes we have international visitors who come to Penn for a short visit to either attend a conference or seminar or some kind of educational convention. So these short-term visitors are eligible to enter the U.S. under B1 temporary business visitor visa or WB, which is a temporary business visitor under the visa waiver program for certain foreign nationals, I think of over 40 participating countries. So the visa waiver program travelers are required to have a valid authorization through this thing called ESTA before they travel to the US. B1 and WB visitors, they have to declare the business intent at the port of entry so that the correct notation will be reflected on their I-94. However, note that B1 and WB are not work visas. They cannot receive a salary from a US source. They cannot receive salary from Penn if they're here for a short visit. They may be paid an honorarium and or reimbursement for travel expenses from Penn if they meet the following criteria. If their activity is limited to no more than 9 days, that the person has accepted such payment from no more than 5 educational institutions, including Penn, over the last 6 months. So this is often called the 956 rule, if you have heard that before. So as long as they meet these criteria, then Penn will be able to pay an honorarium or a reimbursement for this individual for their short visit. Okay, I think that's it for this slide.
Okay. So next one is O1. Okay, so O1, when would we recommend O1? Most of the time is when a person, he or she is in J and his or her J is subject to 212E. Okay, if this person is subject to 212E based on their J visa, then they cannot be sponsored as H1B. So if your department still want to hire them, and if this person is considered a person of extraordinary ability, then you can consider O1. Another thing is that, well, if this H1B has reached 6 years, right, and then they can no longer be sponsored on H1, no longer be extended longer, then O1 is another option. But also, this person need to be qualified as extraordinary, okay? So sometimes beyond 6 years, of course, some department may, like 1 or 2 years before the end of H1B, you guys may have already started PR. But then if PR cannot really be processed or be received before the end of H1B, then O1 could also serve as a transitional visa. But the bottom line is that this person needs to be qualified for O1. And O1 has a very high credential requirement, credential qualification. It's like H1B, as long as the position itself is qualified as specialty occupation, and it requires bachelor degree and up, then this person most of the time could be qualified as for H1B. But O1 not only need to have degree requirement, this person need to have already achieved and sustained national or international claims for extraordinary ability. And then this ability could be in the field of science or arts or sport, education, business, Okay, different field. But you just want to prove to the USCIS that this this person has a record of extraordinary achievement. Okay, so for O1, we do not process it in-house. So whenever you have an O1 case, what you want to do is to submit an O1E form. And then myself or the other colleague, Donna, we will review your case. And once we think that everything is good, then we will forward your case to a law firm. So initial period of O1 is 3 years. So most of the time, after these 3 years, or before the end of these 3 years, the your department could request a 1-year extension. Sorry. And then it could be extended indefinitely. That means that once 3 years reach and you can extend for 1 year, and then before the end of this 1 year, you can continue to ask for extension. Okay, so many people, if they are in the process of PR, they use O1 as the transitional period, and then just wait for the PR to be approved. Okay, and some people, they can continue to work for UPenn on O1 while they are waiting for the 212E waiver. Okay. So employment over required, that means that the employee cannot be self-sponsored. Okay, it needs to be sponsored by your department. And then just this morning, a department asked me that, well, can the employee just pay for their own O1 application fee? Okay, so the answer is yes. Even though that O1 should be sponsored by an employer, that the regulation does not really say no, you are not allowed to pay for the O1 employee. Okay, so but then so the arrangement will be that your department still has to pay for the O1 filing fee and legal fee, and then the O1 employee will reimburse you. Okay, but most of the time, O1 as hiring department, we encourage you to pay for that. Okay, so if O1 is dismissed or terminated, involuntarily terminated before the end of O1, then the hiring department is responsible for the return cost of transportation abroad. Okay, next one. Mike. Okay. So for the O1 procedure, Jeanne, can I help you cover this? And I want to get some water. Jeanne, do you want to cover
Sure.
this part? Just
Sure. So my limited knowledge on O1, once you submit the O1E form in IPEN, as Chiwei mentioned, that this will be forward to either Chiwei or Donna in our office. They will review it, and once they feel that this case qualifies for an O1, then they will forward that to our outside counsel. We work with 2 law firms based in the Philadelphia area, and one of the law firms will help with processing the O1 petition. The department and the employee, of course, are encouraged to work with the law firm to upload the documentation and information that the law firm will need in order to process the petition. The legal fee, as stated here, is $7,000. And then the filing fee, as well the premium processing fee, listed here as an option.
yeah.
Chiwei, anything else I need to mention about this one?
I don't know what happened to my throat. But thank you, Jeanne. So yeah, I think you basically covered everything. And just to let everyone know that we do not process O1 in-house. Okay, so for every O1 case that you submit to our department, that we will forward it to our outside legal counselor. And also, for the premium processing fee, I'm sorry that we haven't updated. I think the premium processing fee is $28.05. Okay, next slide. Okay, so last one, this is a PR. I know there are a lot of H-1Bs or O-1 or even J. When they come to UPenn, they have the end goal is that they want to get a green card. So for positions at Penn, there are two major positions. One is teaching faculty. Okay, most of them tenure track teaching faculty. The other one is staff position. Okay, so for teaching faculty, if your department submit in time, then most of the time we will handle this teaching faculty position in-house with special handling. But if this position is a research position or staff position, then we will just forward these cases to our outside legal counselor. Okay. So for employment-based PR application, there are several types. Okay, so the first one is you can see on the PowerPoint slide here is standard labor certification cases. These most of the time are for staff position, and then these will need to go through the Department of Labor. Okay, and the second one, outstanding professor researcher cases. This is the EB1B. That means that, well, this person has much higher credential than the EB2, than the person or the position that need to be go through the standard labor certificate. So outstanding professor and research cases, most of the time does not need to go through PERM, does not need to go through the Department of Labor. So the processing time will be much shorter than those cases that need to go through the Department of Labor. Okay. And there are other PR categories. For example, a lot of people, especially researchers, they will check with you about the possibility for NIW. So NIW is called National Interest Waiver. That means that this person is highly qualified, but this person is not as high credential. In terms of credential, it's not as or extraordinary or as outstanding as the outstanding professor research cases. But this person does bear very unusual ability that will benefit the U.S. interest. So they can go through this called national interest waiver. Because this person bear this ability, they can benefit our society or community. So national interest waiver could be another option for them. Okay, so Mike, could you go through the next one? Okay, so I want to share a little bit about how we process the spatial handling teaching faculty. Okay, so for teaching faculty, first of all, we need to define what is teaching faculty. I know in School of Medicine or in HUB, there are some physicians and coming as an assistant professor, but they also do some clinical duties. Okay, so when we talk about teaching faculty here, mainly we are talking about teaching faculty with tenure track, and they only do teaching most of the time. Okay, so with this teaching faculty, and then they need to have teaching components to the job. That means that not only to mentor lab mates or their team in a lab or in a hospital, they need to be teaching in a classroom setting. Okay, so that's how we define teaching faculty for spatial handling. Okay, so for spatial handling, the first step is that we will need to file prevailing wage determination for this person. And once the prevailing wage determination come back, we then can file this PERM labor certification. Okay, so when you submit everything to us, for example, recently I received a case and the department would like to sponsor this faculty with spatial handling. But then the job offer date last year, 2023, January. Okay, so you can see here that we have to file perm labor certification within 18 months of the job offer date. So if January 1st, 2023, this job has already been offered to this person, that means that from January 1st until now, see how many months has already, 14 months, 14 or 15 months has already passed. So we only have 3 months left to file perm. But before we can file perm for this person, we have to file prevailing wage determination for this person. And then prevailing wage like determination, most of the time now, takes 6 to 8 months. So that is to say that we won't be able to process spatial handling for this person based on the timeline, okay? Because we need to submit everything for perm within 18 months of the job offer date. So if you have a case that your department cannot make decision to file or request spatial handling once you hire this person or right after you give this person a job offer, then when you submit a PRE form, you may want to check with us to see whether this person, even though that he or she is a teaching faculty, but maybe based on the timeline, that it will be hard for us to process spatial handling for them. Okay. And the prepared time for perm is currently like 10 to 14 months. Okay, so now the Department of Labor need a lot of time, need a long time to process a perm. Okay, so this is for spatial handling. Okay, so if they said that, well, just like the case that I just received last week, they already give the job offer last year, January, and then after we calculate, well, there are not enough time for us to submit perm within 18 months of the job offer date, then at this time, we will get back to you and say, well, we do not believe that spatial handling at this time is possible. So we will just forward the case to a law firm. And then if this professor has very high credential, then we may try EB1B, or we have to do the recruitment again, and then to let the law firm do spatial handling. I hope it's not too complicated, but then feel free to reach out to us anytime. Yeah, PR is confusing. Yeah. All right, Mike, could you help? Okay. So next, we want to talk about this very important topic. It's for staff position. If you want to apply if you want to sponsor a person, but this person is in a staff position. Okay, I just mentioned that we have teaching faculty, we have research position, and we have staff position. For teaching faculty and staff and researcher position, then we do not need to worry about policy 119. But if this person is in a staff position, for example, this person is doing a data statistic, okay, or this person's title as a research analyst, okay, this is considered staff position. So Penn has this policy 119, and policy 119 means that Penn would only sponsor PR for a staff position, okay? So if you, I'm sorry, Penn would only sponsor PR for faculty and researcher position. If it's a staff position, your department need to get an exception from a committee, okay, from a central HR committee. And then only if this exception is approved, then this case will be forwarded back to us. And then we will start the PR process for you, okay? So you may ask, so what kind of exception, what kind of document can we provide or submit to get this exception? I would say there are several documents, for example, the CV, but then the most important document will be a letter from your department. Explain why this position is so unique and so high level that no one in Philadelphia area or even in the United States is qualified for this position, so that we will need to hire someone that does not really have a U.S. immigration status. Okay, why it is so unusual for this position, so that we cannot find local people to work on that. Okay, so this is the policy 119. Okay, so can I go to next slide? Thank you. So the PR procedure is just like what I have mentioned. You will find H1B, you will find TN, you will find E3, you will find PR. Okay, it's all on your iPad front page. Okay, so if you are going to sponsor, your department is going to sponsor a PR, that you want to look for the PR e-form. Okay, and then it's only available for existing or new employees at Penn with iPad. Okay. So once you submit the e-form, we will review the e-form and we will determine whether this is like an in-house, that can we just process it, if it's a teaching faculty, and if the time is fine, then we will just keep it in-house. But if it's a researcher position and if it's a staff position and everything, then we will just forward to our outside legal counselor. And we do have 2 outside legal counselors that is highly selective, that we interview a lot of law firms, and eventually we select these 2. So you guys can find the information online, and then if you couldn't, let me know. I will forward this to law firms information for you. And then once you select law firm, you will know which one to select. O1 also the same. O1 and PR, you need to select the outside legal counselor. And then it's according to Penn policy. Okay, all of the O1 and PR cases, we do not, the department cannot authorize your own law firm to process. Every O1 and PR case need to go through these 2 law firms that we authorized, that we use. Okay. So, and then once this e-form, once we are authorized or forward your case to the law firm, they will contact you very soon. Okay, and they will send you the invoice, and once your department submit the payment, they will start the the process for you. And one thing new, just that we just started this year, and then we started to meet with the 2 law firms monthly. We mainly just want to monitor the status of all of our O1 and PR case that we forwarded to them, so that we want to guarantee that, well, we cannot guarantee, but we want to monitor the process, and we want to make sure to avoid unnecessary delay. So just want to let you know that we are trying our best to monitor all the PR cases and O1 cases that we forwarded for you to the law firm. So we now have this monthly meeting with the 2 law firms, and then we go through cases, and then we red flag on cases that if there is any delay or any complication, that we will check with them. Okay. All right, and the fee depends on case type, but available on our website. And if you have any question, you cannot find a website, you do not know where to find a fee, please just email me and let me know. I will navigate the website with you, or I will forward the website to you. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is just a short introduction of the 2 law firms that we use. Like some department or some scholars would just reach out to me and say, hey, can you just let me know which one to pick? Just let me know. Give me a hint. Which one do you prefer? So it's very hard for me to really recommend only one of them. Both of them are very good. I would just say that GoPro is it's a smaller law firm. It's more intimate. Okay, and Classical is a large law firm. It's U.S. renowned, national renowned law firm. They are very organized. Okay, they have very good structure. Okay, so once you send an email to them, they will get back to you very soon. And then the email will be from a very experienced paralegal. whereas corporate, because they are not that large size, so the lawyer basically on top of everything. So both of them has some different special, like different style working on your cases, but both of them are very good with higher education PR cases and O1 cases. And both of them are also very, very familiar with this current dirty and also hospital physician cases. So yeah, we interview a lot of law firms, and these are the two best that we selected for our scholars and staff. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay. So any questions? I know that this afternoon, this is a lot of information that you need to observe, but then just let us know if you have any question. You can, Mike, can we just mute, like let them decide whether they want to talk, or you guys can just put your question on chat.
Yes, I've enabled
Thank you.
phones and video.
Thank you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
While we are waiting for questions, I just want to remind everyone, recently we have a case that the department is planning to help sponsor an OPT, a current OPT employee with H1B. Okay, so but then there are some reason that H1B does not go through as expected, so there was a delay. And then when we look through this H1B employees record, that we find, well, this person is actually qualified for STEM OPT. So we would like to recommend everyone that when you have an OPT employee work for you, maybe you can check with that person that, are you qualified for STEM OPT? If this person is qualified for STEM OPT, then we would really recommend them to apply for STEM OPT. And then if your department would like to apply for, would like to sponsor H1B for this person, it's totally fine. The STEM OPT they submitted is just serve as a transition. Okay, in case something go wrong with H1B, that there will be no gap, in between job. Okay, there will be no gap in the employment if this person has STEM OPT. Okay, okay.
There's a question, Chiwei,
okay.
from Joan.
Mm-hmm.
So Joan is asking, if a person is currently on OPT or a STEM OPT extension, do they then move to TN if they're Mexican or Canadian, or E3 if they're Australian, instead of H1B? Do they have to return to their home country to get the visa?
For TN, for both of them, they can stay in the United States, and we can do the change of status for them. Okay, it's like we just have to check the option for premium processing. So if it's new employment, and if there is premium processing options available, that for new employer or for new employee, we will highly recommend we will highly recommend to select premium processing option. Okay, to avoid any unnecessary delay or to avoid a gap in employment. And also for TN, there is a skill list. So for TN, it's stricter than H1B. TN, there is only like a different job duties or job titles could be qualified for TN. So just want to let you know that not every job or job titles or job duties are qualified for TN visa. So before you want to go for TN, you can check with us, or we have a list on our website. You want to make sure that this position is qualified for TN visa. And E3 is more similar to H1B. Okay, so basically, we just need to submit an LCA if this person plan to travel. If not, then we can do it in the United States. Yes, we are able to change status for them. It's just like it sometimes will take a long time for change of status case. So we just want to make sure that if premium processing option is available, please just opt for premium processing.
And also, can I just add that I think TN and E3 are both temporary work status. So I think if someone has intention of filing a green card in the near future, I think H-1B is probably a better option for them to transition from.
Yeah, correct.
Because when you apply for TN or extend TN or E3, you have to let immigration know that you have no intention of working in the U.S. permanently. So I think I just want to add that.
Yeah, that's very good. And that's a very, very super important reminder. It's like TN and E3, they are non-immigrant visa. So you cannot have immigrant intent. Whereas H-1B is through immigrant intent. So that means that when you are on H-1B, you are allowed to apply for PR as well in the meantime. Okay. Thank you, Jeanne. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? If no other questions, I'll give you 1 more minute. If no other questions, we will just we will just end this webinar. Okay. I just want to remind everyone that now we see for PR cases, I know a lot of departments would like to sponsor U.S. staff position for PR, but just want to let you know that now I've seen 2 denial from the 119 Policy Exception Committee, and then it's a very common position for PR sponsorship, but then it's just sometimes it's hard for the department to prove that this position like sometimes it's maybe hard for the department to prove that they cannot find any available person for this position, available local workers for this position. So if a letter is not strong enough, then there's a possibility that this request will be denied. So before you sponsor U.S. staff position, that you just want to let the foreign national know that there is no guarantee, even though that you would like to sponsor them. But then because this is a staff position, that there's a possibility that the request may be denied. And then if this request got denied, you can of course appeal, but if the appeal was denied again, then we won't be able to to forward this case to a law firm and formally start the PR process. Okay. If there's no more questions, then we are going to end our presentation. And then we really appreciate you guys being here with us this afternoon. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions.